All right, let's talk about it. The dissertation. Just saying the word can make your stomach drop. It feels like this giant, impossible mountain you have to climb at the very end of your academic journey. But what if it wasn't? What if you had a roadmap to get you from that scary proposal all the way to a full-blown academic triumph? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Oh man, does this feel familiar? That blinking cursor, it's like it's laughing at you, right? You've got this huge idea, but putting it into words feels impossible. Trust me, feeling completely and totally stuck is a rite of passage for PhD candidates. It's the first big hurdle we've got to get over. So the very first thing we have to do is change how we think about this whole thing. A dissertation isn't some heroic all-night sprint to the finish line. Nope, it's an endurance race. It's a marathon that you absolutely have to pace yourself for. It takes strategy, and it takes the right mindset. And today, we're laying out that strategy for you. Okay, step one, we have to look the beast right in the eye. Before we can even think about solutions, we've got to be honest about the struggles that pretty much every PhD candidate faces. And it all starts right at the beginning, with the proposal. To make this all feel a bit more real, we're going to follow a few students on their journeys. First up, let's meet Carla. She's a doctoral student and sociologist, and when she first started, she hit a wall. A problem so big, it almost completely derailed her project before it even got off the ground. And this, right here, was the heart of her problem. She had a passion, a big, important idea about inequality in cities, but it was just too broad. It was paralyzing. And here's the lesson. A big topic isn't a research question. And without that laser focus, you've got no direction. You're just lost. So how do you actually do it? How do you take that big, hazy idea and turn it into a rock-solid proposal? This is probably the most critical stage of the whole process. Getting this right literally sets the foundation for everything else that comes after. This is the four-step playbook that Carla used to get unstuck. First, she dove deep into a literature review. But she wasn't just reading, she was hunting. Hunting for a gap in the research where her voice could make a difference. Then she got organized. She used a tool like Zotero to stop the chaos of managing sources. And this is so important. She didn't hide away in a lab. She got feedback from her peers, from workshops, and only then, when she had a sharp idea and a clear timeline, did she go to her advisor to get that all-important buy-in. And this leads to a huge mindset shift you got to make. Your proposal, it's not just another assignment. Think of it as a contract between you and your advisor. It lays out the scope, the methods, the expectations. Why is that so important? Because a clear contract protects you from that dreaded scope creep and a million other headaches down the road. It basically becomes your project's constitution. Okay, so Carla's got her proposal locked in, but that's just the first boss level, right? Now let's meet Ben. He made it through the proposal, he collected all his data, but now he's facing a whole different kind of chaos. He is droning in notes. And soon we'll also meet Priya, who's going to help us get through that final brutal hurdle, revisions. Ben's big problem was that he had mountains of incredible data, but he couldn't weave it into a coherent story. His chapters felt like these separate little islands, not a connected continent of thought. He had all the ingredients, but he just didn't have the recipe to put them together. So, how do we fix Ben's problem of everything feeling so disjointed? The answer is simple: structure. If your proposal is the foundation of the building, then the structure is the scaffolding that holds your entire masterpiece together while you build it. Now, this might look super basic, but don't underestimate it. This is the narrative engine of pretty much all academic work. The intro hooks your reader. It's the why. The lit review proves you did your homework. Methodology builds trust. The results, that's your original contribution. The discussion is where you make sense of it all. And the conclusion is that final, powerful takeaway. Seriously, don't try to reinvent the wheel here. This framework just works. Okay, what's this? 500. What in the world could this number represent on the dissertation journey? It's not the number of pages. It's not citations. No, it's a small, incredibly powerful tool to fight back against the single biggest enemy of the drafting phase. And that enemy, of course, is writer's block, the terror of the blank page. By setting a small, totally achievable daily word goal, like 500 words, you build momentum. Look, some days it's going to be a grind to get there. Other days, you'll blow right past it. But that daily discipline, it transforms this overwhelming monster of a task into a simple, manageable habit. Ouch. Can you even imagine? You hand in your third draft, you're thinking you're almost done, and this is the feedback you get? This kind of brutal, direct feedback is a fact of life in academia, and it means we're moving into what is, for many people, the toughest part of the entire marathon. Let's talk about revisions. And I'm not just talking about fixing a few typos. This is the real grind. This is where good research gets forged into excellent scholarship. It takes iteration, it takes feedback, and honestly, it takes a whole lot of resilience. The absolute key to surviving revisions is your mindset. You really have a choice here. You can see all that red ink as a personal attack, or you can see it as a roadmap to make your work better. You can see it as a reason to give up, or as an opportunity to really refine your argument. Embracing that constructive side is the only way you're going to thrive in this stage. So how do you actually manage all that feedback? This is where our third student, Priya, a psychology PhD, really shined. Her approach was completely systematic. She embraced every single comment. She tracked all her changes meticulously. She even used analytical tools to make her data stronger. And, this is crucial, she knew that after you've stared at a document for months, you just can't see your own mistakes anymore. You need a fresh pair of eyes. Okay, you've nailed the proposal. You've structured your draft. You have survived the brutal revision process. You're on the home stretch. Now it's time for the final push. This is all about the polish and preparation that will get you across that finish line. Here it is, your final checklist. You have to proofread like your life depends on it. Double, triple, quadruple check every single citation. Format your document perfectly to your university's weirdly specific guidelines. Don't give them an easy excuse to reject it. Some people, like Ben, even bring in a professional editor for that final peace of mind. And please don't forget the last step. Practice your defense out loud in front of a mirror until you can do it in your sleep. So what's the result of all this strategy and hard work? Well, Carla, Ben, and Priya, who each faced a completely different, massive hurdle, they all did it. They all successfully finished their journeys. They followed the roadmap, they pushed through the pain, and they earned those degrees. And you have to remember, your dissertation is so much more than just a really long paper. It's not just a final requirement you have to check off. It is your ticket. It's your entry into the world of academia. This is the work that's going to launch your career as a scholar. So we've laid it all out for you. The roadmap, from that terrifying blinking cursor all the way to that final, beautiful, bound copy. The strategies are here, the steps are clear. There's really only one question left to ask. Are you ready to start drafting your future?